everybody, welcome to Living Traditions Homestead. My name is Sarah. This is my husband Kevin. And about a month ago we did a video similar to this where we answered your questions and it was a complete hit. So we thought that it was about time for us to do this again, and we've gone back on some of the posts that we had done. We did an Instagram post and a Facebook post, and we're going to be talking about the questions that you asked that you all are dying to know the answers of, and we're going to do just a little bit of that today.
It's really hard for us to do a live stream because our internet out here in the middle of nowhere is terrible. We have satellite internet, but it has such a delay that we just cannot do live streaming. So the best thing that we can do is ask you guys for questions, and then we can answer those today.
Today's video is in our new cow barn. Our goats and our new cow will be living in here together when we bring our new cow home in a couple of weeks. So we're pretty excited. Also, we are expecting some storms. So it's starting to rain a little bit. So if you hear some tip taps on the roof, that's what's going on.
They're actually saying that some areas around us could get up to tennis ball size hail tonight. And here where we are, we're supposed to get 70 to 80 mile an hour winds. So please keep us in your prayers that by the time you see this video, we're all okay and that all of that weather missed us.
The first question that we want to address is if we could move our homestead anywhere, all of our hard work, everything we have here, if we could move it anywhere, where would it be?
The truth is, for me personally, I wouldn't move anywhere but right here in the Missouri Ozarks. There are a few things that I may change about our property or maybe move either to another part of our area. I wish we were a little further off of a road than we are. I wish that I knew that there was a swimming hole at the end of our road where in the summer a lot of people like to go down there and swim. But there's nothing major about where I would move to. I would stay right here in the Missouri Ozarks.
And the way I would answer that is we've actually already moved our homestead to where we want to be. We had an urban homestead in the Phoenix, Arizona area, actually in Gilbert. And just over 3 years ago, we decided to move from our urban homestead from there to here and kind of start all over again. So we've actually done a lot of this already. It's just a matter of setting it up here in the Missouri Ozarks.
Right. Yeah, we're very happy with where we are. I really don't think I'll ever move from the Ozarks where we are. Like I said, there are a few tweaks I would make. If the day would ever come where, say, money was never an option, or you know, it just didn't matter and we could afford whatever we wanted. Sure, there are things that I would do just a little bit better than what we have, but we are so happy and so grateful for what we have that really this is our perfect place.
So the next question has to do with Kevin and I working so well together. The question is, you and Kevin always look so happy and that you always enjoy each other's company. What's your best advice to other people?
So there was a point in our marriage where we both had separate interests. Sarah had her hobbies and I had my hobbies. And honestly, it led us to a point where we were not in a good marriage. So we decided that when we wanted to work on our marriage that we needed to both give up certain things and find things that we had in common. That led us to raising animals, gardening, all of the things that you see us doing today were things that we held in common, and we gave up the things that kind of pushed us apart.
Another thing that we completely eliminated when we really were trying to work on our marriage was this whole girl time, guy time thing.
Right.
It seemed just the most important to us to find time to spend together and to find reasons and ways that we just wanted to spend time together, because ultimately to us we felt like our marriage relationship was the most important. And if I had something that I didn't like or something that was going on that The respectful thing to do and the right thing to do for me was to go to my husband, go to Kevin about that, rather than go to a group of girlfriends for that. And I know that that might rub some people the wrong way, and you know, everybody needs to kind of deal with that in their own way. But for us to mend our marriage, we really needed to cling to each other, figure this out together, and really go to one another when something wasn't going right.
We also knew that before we could move out into the country, away from a lot of people, that we needed to have our relationship strong. It's not going to help a relationship to move to the middle of nowhere and be forced to be together if you can't stand being around each other. So we made sure that our relationship was strong before we made the decision to move out into the country, so that we knew we would be in a good place when we did.
The next question has to do with starting out your homestead and the number of animals you should have. Is there a certain number of chickens you should have, or goats, or rabbits, or ducks, or whatever? What's the magic number you should have when you're starting your homestead?
First of all, I would say don't start with too many things all at once. I would pick one type of animal, probably chickens, because they're kind of the gateway animal into everything else. I would say start with chickens, but I would probably get less than you think you need. The reason I say that is because you need to get used to the amount of work that animals take. Don't watch people on YouTube who have been doing this for a lot of years and think that you need to somehow compete with people on YouTube or people even in your area that have been doing this for a long time. If you're just starting out, start with maybe 2 hens or 3 hens. If you're allowed to have a rooster, I would say get a rooster, but at the max 3 or 4 hens and a rooster. I wouldn't start out with more than that if I were you, because you need to get used to having those animals around you.
And then build after that, but small, like Kevin had said. We started out with 4 hens in our very first, actually, residential neighborhood where we shouldn't have had any chickens.
Right.
And then when we moved to our urban homestead, we quickly added 20 Pekin ducks. And in hindsight, 20 Pekin ducks was way too many.
Right. I would say the best advice is to ease into things. You know, if you're going to start with goats, start with maybe 2 goats. They do best in pairs, not alone. So I would say start with 2. But don't go out and buy an entire herd of 20 goats if you've never raised goats before. There's plenty of time to ease into things.
And getting in over your head is an easy way to really quickly not enjoy what you're doing, and an easy way for you to just say, you know what, forget it, I can't do this homesteading thing. It is a wonderful lifestyle, and I encourage everybody who can to do it, and as much as you can. But just do it slowly and take it on bit by bit. Even though we have so many things going on here, there are still times where we feel overwhelmed, and we have to take a step back and say, do we need to downsize a little bit here or there? Do we need to wait on something for 6 months or for a year? And that really is to keep our sanity, to keep our relationship healthy, and to keep loving what we do every single day.
Right. I'll give you guys an example of that. This past summer, we decided to downsize our chickens. We realized that we had about 25 hens, and we were getting so many eggs that we just couldn't keep up with them all. Our local market just doesn't really pay to sell eggs. Eggs here sell for about $2 a dozen, and that barely pays for the feed. So we decided to downsize our laying flock to only 4 hens and 2 roosters. That's still enough for our family, along with duck eggs and quail eggs, but not so many that we felt completely overwhelmed. Then just today, we were looking at how this fall was going to play out for us, and we realized that we still had enough meat chickens in the freezer that we didn't really need to raise a batch of meat chickens this fall.
We realized that we're going to have enough other types of meat, plus the existing chickens that we have in the freezer to keep us through until at least the spring. So we decided to hold off on raising meat chickens until next spring.
Right.
That will actually be a full year and a half that we won't have to raise meat chickens. And it will take off some of the stress for us in the fall when we're processing turkeys, our pigs, and when Kevin is hunting for deer, for venison meat.
Right. Yeah, we actually realized that if we bought chickens next week, they would be ready to process the exact same time as the turkeys and the pigs, and right in the middle of hunting season. So we're just going to wait until next spring.
So those are the things that you need to keep in mind and to take into consideration. You don't need to compete with your neighbor or other homesteaders or people on YouTube. Just do what's right for you and take it slowly.
So the next question is, why don't we have more berries planted here on our homestead?
Well, we do have thornless blackberries planted on the outer edge of our orchard, and this year we planted an annual type of berry called Wonderberry within our summer garden. But to be honest, we are so blessed that on our property we have lots and lots of wild berries. We have wild blackcap raspberries, wild blackberries, huckleberries, which are really small type of blueberries. And there's another berry called wineberry that we just discovered this year, and we have lots and lots of them in the wooded areas of our property.
Right. Because of that, it just hasn't been a big priority for us to plant the thornless type berries or the domesticated type of berries. To be honest, we still don't have all of the layout of our homestead planned out, and those seem like a long-term thing for us. So we don't want to plant them in an area that may change down the road. So for right now, we're very happy with the wild berries. They provide us with more than what we need every year, and we're just very happy and feel very blessed to have those here for us.
The next question is about our oldest daughter, Grace. Grace was in a very serious car accident this summer. Her car was completely totaled. The other vehicle that was involved was also totaled, and that person was also injured. So it's been a while since we've updated you on how she is doing. And the other part of that question was, is she scared to drive again?
So the first part is about how Grace is doing. Thankfully, she is doing great. She is back to school, back to work. She actually has a job here in town, so she's able to do all of those things with no long-term injuries. She has had some continuing back pain, some continuing, aches and pains here and there, but in general, she is doing very well.
And as far as if she is scared to drive again, Grace doesn't remember a single thing about the accident. She has no memory due to the concussion that she sustained. So at this point, she does not have any fear with driving again. She has not driven since the day of her accident. And we will be having her drive again starting soon, but we're going to take things really slowly. We're going to basically redo the driver's lessons that we've had with her, kind of starting from the beginning to make sure that she is comfortable and that we are comfortable with her driving. Even though she is not afraid to drive, I think we have taken on that fear for her, that we are very afraid for her to drive again. It's given us a lot more anxiety than when she first started driving.
Right. The first time that she pulls out of that driveway again all by herself, it's going to be a very stressful day. It was a terrifying phone call to receive as a parent when the sheriff's department calls you and tells you that your child has been in an accident and that you need to get there right away. It's just a horrible feeling. So
it was a terrifying sight to approach the accident scene and to see your child being pulled out of her car and put onto a stretcher, and to be able to really see that she was really not understanding what was going on, that it was clear that she had a minor brain injury. That's really scary.
Right.
And so we are probably affected even more as a result of that accident.
Right.
Than she is at this
We
point.
remember everything that happened that day. She may not, but we do. So it's probably, Sarah's right, it's more stressful on us than it is on her. Now, thankfully, this past week, my brother was here to visit. A family friend from Wisconsin donated a car to our family so Grace could have a new car. So we're going to start all over with the driving lessons because it is a different car for her, and we just want her to be comfortable before she starts driving again.
We're also coming into winter, which gives us more worries. So we're just gonna start slow for her. So thank you for asking, and we appreciate all the continued prayers for her and her injuries and getting back behind the wheel, and for us as we continue to kind of process through all of that fear and anxiety. So the next question is about our meat rabbits. Why did we switch from raising New Zealand meat rabbits to silver fox rabbits, and why did we downsize so drastically? So we started raising meat rabbits in Phoenix when we lived there in our urban homestead, and we had always raised New Zealand meat rabbits. When we moved to Missouri, we brought a breeding trio. Shortly after we moved here, we increased our herd to 11 breeding does and 2 breeding bucks. But we also added to our herd some silver fox.
So that year when we had that many rabbits, we were actually able to put a lot of rabbits into the freezer. We did sell some at our local farmer's market, but we never intended to be a rabbit meat producer. Our goal is always to first provide for our family. So we were able to put a lot of rabbits into the freezer that year, and because of that we realized that was not something we needed to do year after year after year. So we actually decided to downsize the amount of rabbits that we had, and we decided that we would eliminate the New Zealands as part of that downsizing.
Now, New Zealand's are a great breed. We recommend them to anybody. They are a fantastic meat breed.
They probably grow the fastest and produce the most meat for your dollar, hands down.
The silver fox rabbits, though, are a heritage breed, which we really like, but they're also a meat breed and a fur breed. So the fact that they are both was really enticing to us, and that's why we decided to keep them and to be able to explore more skills within the homestead with that breed.
Right. Right now, I'm not doing much with the furs from the silver fox rabbits, but learning how to tan hides and save fur and be able to make things out of them is something that I've been interested in a while. I've played around with a little bit in the past, and even though right now I don't have the time to dedicate to that, it is something that I really want to learn about in the future. So having that breed around gives me that opportunity whenever I'm ready to start doing that.
The other thing is, when we had so many rabbit does and we were breeding really heavily, we really didn't have a lot of other sources of meat on the homestead. We were really new here in the Missouri Ozarks. So we were raising rabbits and basically chickens for our meat. Since then, we've added pig. Kevin has done a lot more hunting for deer, venison, and now we've actually introduced turkeys and quail onto the homestead. So we just don't need so many rabbits in order to feed our family because we just have so many more sources of meat.
Right. The nice thing about rabbits is that you can scale up and scale down very quickly, which is why we will always have rabbits on the homestead. We'll never completely eliminate having rabbits because we like the fact that if all of a sudden we need to have 10 does again, we can pretty much save 1 litter and start there all over again. It is a great meat source, and we encourage every homestead to have at least some rabbits as a source of meat. The next question is, How many acres is your homestead? And what do you do with all of your animals when you go away for a long weekend or go on vacation?
Well, we have about 15.5 acres of land, and we just actually don't go on vacation.
We actually decided when we moved onto this homestead that homesteading had to be a lifestyle. It had to be something that we were 100% committed to, because we don't have in this area family or friends or anything else that we feel like we can ask to take care of all of the things that we do on a daily basis. So because of that, we've decided that it's our responsibility to take care of everything. So we just don't go on vacation.
There are a couple times where we've been able to go on day trips, and in that case, we get up early, do our farm chores, go for the day, and then come back to do nighttime chores. We might do them a little bit earlier in the morning on that day, and we might do them a little bit later in the evening when we get back. So that gives us the leeway of being away from the homestead for, 12 to 14 hours. And that's actually how we go and do, an occasional speaking event. In May, we spoke at the Baker Creek Spring Planting Festival, and in September we'll be going to the Ozarks Homesteaders Conference near Joplin in Neosho, and we can do that because it's not very far from home.
Right.
Now, there are situations where we've had family emergencies, and I've needed to go up to Wisconsin or to Illinois to be with my parents, and Kevin may need to someday go to Arizona to help with his parents. And in those situations, we just can't all go.
Right.
I will need to stay and take care of things on the homestead, or Kevin will need to stay and take care of things on the homestead. We can take the kids, but all four of us just can't go. And that's just something that we realized when we moved here, that was just a sacrifice that we were willing to make in order to live our dream. Homesteading is more than just the animals. It is raising your food, it's the gardens and things. And while there are probably people around that would take over that for us, it's our responsibility. When the tomatoes need to come off the vines, they need to come off the vines, and that's our responsibility. And it's too big of a responsibility, I feel, to ask somebody else to take over. We do have friends in the community, but it's a lot to ask to come over twice a day.
And a lot of them have their own homesteads to take care of.
Or their own jobs. We knew going into this that we wouldn't be able to travel much. We knew that moving to the Missouri Ozarks, where we didn't have any friends, where we didn't have any family, that it would be up to us. And we still enjoy it. We don't feel stifled or suppressed because of it. We enjoy it. We love it. Our goal is to raise and grow as much of our own food as possible, and to really soak up this lifestyle, and to really be thankful for all the blessings that we've been given. And the sacrifice really isn't a sacrifice to us, because we are absolutely in love with what we do here every single day. So the last question for today is, what does a relaxing day look like for us?
So the truth is, we don't take a lot of time to relax. We should take way more. I know it would be a lot healthier for us, but we work a lot here on the homestead. Monday through Friday, we probably work 16 hours a day. And then on Saturdays, we spend most of our day at our local farmers market.
In the afternoon on Saturday, we work more at the farm, but on Sunday, that's our day to relax.
Right. On Sundays, we get up, we do our morning chores because the animals still need to be fed, and then we go to church, and then we try our hardest to spend the rest of the day on Sunday just relaxing and spending time together as a family. So for us, that is what a relaxing day looks like. It's church, and then coming home and just, we may still putter around, but we don't try to do any real big projects on a Sunday.
So you guys, I hope that you learned a bunch about us today. I hope that we answered some of your burning questions. If you have more questions about the homestead or about the life that we live, go ahead and put those in the comments section below.
We love to answer your questions. We're not trying to hide anything here on the homestead. We're trying to show you guys a real picture of what it is to live this lifestyle. It's a ton of work, but it is so worth it.
If you're not a subscriber yet, make sure that you hit the subscribe button below. And a lot of you ask how you can help us. The best thing that you could do to help us out is to share our channel with people, share our videos. We would appreciate that so much.
There are a lot of people out there who don't know that there is an alternative to living in the rat race, to getting up every day, going to your 9 to 5 that you hate, that you can actually live a life that you absolutely love, which is what we're doing.
So until next time, you guys, thank you so much for stopping by the homestead. Take care and God bless.
God bless.